All right, so we are recording. Hey everybody, it's me, Josh Hope Paranormal. I wanted to tell you this interesting story regarding a forensic audio expert. Before I do that, I'm going to show you kind of what led up to this whole thing. And I did an experiment with Steve Huff and I. We both are doing this work. We're on this journey. He has his own channel with a massive following. I have my own channel doing my own work. But we've been closely working together for the last 5 years, doing sessions, doing events, and other things like that. And it's been pretty amazing. And what we have found is that our journeys are very similar. We experience a lot of the same things around the same times. It's very interesting. We can't explain it, but we talk about once a week or so. We trade our stories and our research and compare it. One of the experiments that we did was that I called Steve via FaceTime and hit record on my camera, and we both had our Dr60 recorders with us. He had his in Arizona. I have mine here in South Florida. I invited my spirit guide Michael to participate and asked him if he would leave messages on mine and Steve's recorder. Check out these results. I'm sure you're going to think it's the same as me, that they're pretty undeniable and pretty amazing. All right, we're going to do a little experiment. I've got my recorder here.
I got mine right here.
The air conditioning just went off, so that's good. So I'm going to ask. So we're asking our guides right now, and we've given a few minutes here to kind of warm this up. So if Michael would come through my recorder, and then if there was any way for him to come through your recorder, Steve's recorder, okay? So let's just see what happens. So Michael, if you can, just keep it to like 2 or 3 words if it's possible, man. So Michael, are you here with us? Him off. He did it, and then I just wanted to see if it was quick. Hold on.
So, Michael, are you here with us?
I love something. It's like, hold on.
Say it again. So, Michael, are you here with us?
I love Huff. Sounds like he's saying I love Huff. Hold on.
So, Michael, are you here with us?
Yeah, it's I love Huff. It sounds very...
3 words,
yeah, it sounds very much I love Huff. All right, so we just did that. Now, Michael, if there's any way that you can jump onto the portal and go over to Steve's house real quick. How many miles?
Oh man, it's over 2,000.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, Michael, if you're here, I have my recorder. We just heard you spoke through Josh's recorder. If you could say something through mine, that would be amazing, and we would prove that you can speak to both of us nearly at the same time. So, Michael, are you here through my recorder? Can you speak through my recorder right now? Okay, let's see. So, Michael, are you here through my recorder? Can you speak through my recorder right now?
It's Michael. It's like it's Michael or it's something, it sounds like.
So, Michael, are you here through my recorder? Can you speak through my recorder right now?
It's Michael. Okay, I'm going to try. I want to do an experiment. I want to try something. So I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to ask Michael on this end to say a word on your end.
Okay.
You can't hear the word. Oh, okay.
Can't hear you, no.
Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask Michael on this end, or I'm just going to say, all right, so I'd have to mute you. I'm just trying to think of something. I mean, Michael, I'm going to connect with you intuitively here too, and I'm going to say it out loud on this end so we have it as proof on this end. He won't be able to hear it. All right, Michael, on this end, if you could say the word spirit or ghost, spirit or ghost, I'll probably say that out loud.
All right, so you want me to add
Yeah,
that?
go ahead and see if it. Well, yeah, let's see if it works. We'll try it.
All right, Michael, Josh just said a word. If you can repeat that word through my recorder, can you repeat the word Josh just spoke that I didn't hear through my recorder, so we can validate you're with both of us? See what we got. It's very cool.
What did you think it said?
I don't know, it was quiet, but let me hear it again in my ear.
Try to listen. What?
Are you hearing it?
I heard it when you put it up here more, and it sounded like it, but then I...
All right, let me do it up close.
See, to me, I hear two syllables. It's like he either says "it's" or he just says the word. But see, I said "spirit" or "ghost." Those were the two words I said.
I should have said it. I thought he might have said something ghost.
Okay.
All right. Hold on.
All right. It does it? So, pretty amazing stuff and astounding in my eyes, and as well as Steve's. And afterwards, a few days after us doing this, I was doing a Patreon group session where I try once a month. I do a session for about an hour, hour and a half, where I try to reach out to patrons' loved ones. And I have a lot of success doing that, and it's pretty amazing. But during the session, a name came through that I had never heard before, and I didn't think too much of it, but it somehow got stored in my mind. So check this out. I hear you guys sounding off, saying things. I hear you guys sounding. So days later, I was in the car with Nikki. We were driving to go pick up our daughter, and I had CNN on the satellite radio. And Chris Cuomo was on talking about something with Trump and politics that I don't even care to ever discuss. He had a segment on. All of a sudden, I hear this name.
First, let's bring in expert Ed Primo. Ed, thank you very much for working on this the way you have. I know you had to drop things to get to this, so thank you. Let the audience know, how long have you been doing this?
You're welcome, Chris. This is my 34th year as of May this year, 2018.
Okay, 34 years in the business. How certain are you about what you believe you hear on this tape?
I'm fairly confident, Chris. Sound perception, we all have different abilities of hearing sound and hearing speech the way we perceive it.
I couldn't believe it. Right there was the same name that I just heard in the session a few days before. Could it be that the spirits were saying this person's name, like I should contact him? I had no idea. The next morning, I was doing exactly what I had done my whole life with anything else, which was that having no boundaries and no limitations, I sought out Ed's information and called his office. I got his secretary, who then put me through to him, and I proceeded to explain to him what type of work I was doing, what type of work Steve was doing, and how we were recording disembodied voices and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. He was very intrigued, and he said, please send me your recordings. After getting off the phone with Ed, I then went into my office, shut the door, grabbed my Dr60 recorder, and asked Michael to weigh in and see what he had to say.
I just spoke with Ed Primo. Is there anything that can be said about that conversation?
So with this new development, I called Steve immediately and told him the story, and he was extremely intrigued as well. And we both agreed to pay Ed Primo's high-priced hourly fee, and it's rightfully so. The man has 35 years experience in analyzing voice and speech. So we were now going to have him, Ed, conduct an investigation on our DR60s and see what he could find out scientifically. The first step that I needed to do was record me doing a session, just a quick couple questions with Michael, and see if I could record Michael clearly on here and send Ed the video, the original video, and the actual recorder in which I did the recordings on. Here is that session. All right, we are recording. It is September 12th at 5:06 p.m. I am attempting to do a very short recording on my recorder, DR60 recorder, as well as on video for the Primo team. I'm going to ask my guides, approved spirits and guides, I'll do this on camera. Who is here with me? Which guide is with me right now? Okay.
Who is here with me? Which guide is with me right now?
Michael. All right. The person that I'm sending this recorder to analyze, his name is Ed Primo. Ed Primo. You've said his name once before, I believe, in the recording that I sent. Is it possible, Michael, if you can, to just say Ed Primo's name? Okay.
Is it possible, Michael, if you can, to just say Ed Primo's name?
Ed Primo something, they said. That's what I heard. Very good. Thank you, Michael. This is working very well. Michael, whatever open message that you would like to say, just please say it slow. Okay.
Michael, whatever open message that you would like to say, please say it slow.
Okay. So after that session, I packaged up my DR60 very carefully, of course, and sent it off to Ed and his team along with the video. They received it, and within a few days, they got back to me telling me that they were still extremely intrigued with what I had sent them, and that this is what they had found so far, that they hear what is on the recorder. They also hear the sounds that are similar in what I believe that I'm hearing. So they are hearing the sounds and they are hearing the words similar to what I believe the responses are saying. They also said something extremely interesting. They said that the waveform of the sound signature of these responses move and is sounding very much like human speech, but it is not on the same frequency as a human voice. So right there, it's telling us that these responses are human speech, words, maybe not always discernible, of course, but that are not on the same frequency as mine and your voices. So further testing needed to be done by Ed. He needed to create something called an exemplar, which is a replica of that sound that he can produce as kind of a standard to use. And I didn't know how he was going to do that, but he was going to try. So that's where the research for him needed to go. So we again were in a holding pattern waiting for Ed's findings, his research to continue. About a week after that, he got back to us and told us that he was not going to be able to really go any further with his research. And a little disappointed, I was wondering why, but understood shortly after him explaining it to me that he was not able to create that exemplar. He was not able to reproduce the sound. He also had someone else's recorder that was producing the same sounds that was sent in shortly after I did, probably someone with the same notion, and that on both of those recorders there was same similar sounds from spirit. That he wasn't calling it spirit, and he wasn't going to rule that as being spirit. He was looking at it strictly from a scientific point of view, and that's where it needed to be from him. He then ruled that it was unexplainable and that he couldn't go any further, that there was really no explanation for how these voices were being left on the recorder. And it really just goes to show that the work that Steve and I are doing on these recorders and trying to validate this work, whether it's through a box or through these recorders, it's very important and it's very legitimate, very interesting that the scientific community still cannot prove how these recordings and responses are being put on these recorders, yet they are pretty undeniably showing us that their voices are being recorded. So we plan on doing more work to try to validate this. We're going to try to do this with a number of different things, and with the events that we have coming up in the future, I plan on using and delving into more of this information. In fact, I have been actually reading Ed Primo's book, which is very interesting, and again, it is not on paranormal research. It is very far from that. But what it is showing is how to review audio sessions and the different patterns in human speech. So I would recommend anyone checking it out if you'd like. Ed was a fantastic person. I don't think he'll be doing any more regarding research with this, as his reputation is one that needs to be very respected, and I appreciate him though for taking the time to do this work with us, trying to validate it. So more to come, very exciting. I look forward to bringing you guys a lot more. All right, thank you.